Hi guys, it's Brenna, and in this video I am going to read you a book called Hummingbirds, Faster Than a Jet. Alright, what I'll do is I'm going to read the pages and then I'll turn them around and show you guys the pictures, okay? So this is called Hummingbirds, Faster Than a Jet by Emma Carlson Byrne. A magical bird. Imagine a tiny bird, colored bright green, ruby red, violet, and brilliant blue. This bird drinks from flowers, does acrobatics in midair, and appears and disappears as though by magic. Does this sound like an animal from a fairy tale? It is not. It's a hummingbird. Hummingbirds can hover in the air as they drink nectar from flowers. Sometimes small hummingbirds are mistaken for bees because their wings move so fast they are hard to see. Hummingbirds are tiny, delicate, and beautiful. They also have amazing superpowers. They are strong and fast. Hummingbirds can fly 500 miles without stopping. They can live so high in the mountains that humans would get sick from the lack of oxygen. Some hummingbirds will visit 1,000 flowers a day to look for food. Let's visit the world of the hummingbirds together. Hummingbirds are known for their beautiful feathers. So many hummingbirds. There are about 341 species of hummingbirds. All have long, slim beaks that they use to drink nectar from flowers. They have short legs and amazing wings that beat in a fast figure-8 pattern. These flexible wings let the hummingbird hover in midair and fly backwards. Ruby-throated hummingbirds are the only hummingbirds that breed in eastern North America. They can be up to 3.5 inches long with a wingspan of around 4 inches. Fastest animal on Earth. The fastest hummingbird is the Anna's hummingbird. This little bird moves at about 385 times its own body length per second. This is compared to a falcon's speed of 200 body lengths per second. A fighter jet, with its afterburners on, moves at only 150 body lengths per second. All the hummingbirds are small. The bee hummingbird is only about 2 1/4 inches long. Most hummingbirds have at least some beautiful, bright feathers. The male hummingbird has a green head and brilliant red feathers extending down from his beak onto his chest. The broad-billed hummingbird shimmers blue and green all over and has a pink beak. Hummingbird homes. Hummingbirds live only in the Western Hemisphere. They can be found from Alaska all the way to Chile, at the tip of South America. They can live high in the mountains or in the steamy tropics. Hummingbirds often visit backyard feeders and gardens. This map shows where in the world hummingbirds live. As you can see, they only live in North America, Central America, and South America. This is the map. Hummingbirds do not live in grasslands, in the desert, or in very thick forests. These places don't have enough flowers for them to find food they need. Hummingbirds migrate or move around to different places, depending on when flowers are blooming. This hummingbird lives in the West Indies, which are islands south of Florida. Dining on nectar. Hummingbirds' long, thin beaks are perfect for reaching deep inside trumpet-shaped flowers to drink their nectar. A hummingbird hovers close to a blossom and dips its long beak into the flower. It is drinking nectar, the sugary liquid made by plants. Hummingbirds use their forked tongues to lap up this sweet food. They need to eat a lot to stay alive. In one day, a hummingbird might eat up to 3 times its own body weight in nectar. For protein, hummingbirds eat small insects and spiders. They also drink tree sap, which is sugary like nectar. Hummingbirds can't bore holes in trees to get at the sap. Instead, they use holes made by woodpeckers. Many people have hummingbird feeders in their yards so they can see hummingbirds feeding up close. Hummingbird feeders are filled with a sugar mixture similar to the nectar found in flowers. Hummingbirds cannot hover Hummingbirds can not only hover in midair and fly forward and backward, but they can even briefly fly upside down. The calliope hummingbird migrates about 2,800 miles each year. When you compare how small the calliope is with the length of the journey, that's the longest migration of any bird on Earth. Hummingbirds lay the smallest eggs of any bird on the planet. Some are as small as a pea or a jelly bean. In the 1800s, women used to wear dead stuffed hummingbirds on their hats. This was a very popular fashion. When a hummingbird is resting, its heart beats about 500 times per minute. When it is excited, its heart rate zooms up to 1,200 beats per minute. The average heart rate for a person is about 75 beats per minute. The maximum for a person is between 160 and 220 beats per minute. To eat as much as a hummingbird, you would have to eat 3,500 pancakes or a 5-pound bag of sugar every 40 minutes every day. That's a lot of sugar. Amazing wings. Hummingbird wings beat so fast they look like a blur. Bigger hummingbirds might beat their wings about 10 beats per second. Smaller ones might beat theirs 80 times a second. When a ruby-throated hummingbird is trying to attract a mate, his wing beat can reach 200 beats per second. Hummingbirds get their name because of the sound their super fast wings make as they are beating. The reason hummingbirds can fly so fast is that they use their wings differently from other birds. Most birds have flexible wings and move their joints when they fly. Hummingbirds, though, hold their short wings stiffly. They move them at the same way you move oars when rowing a boat. This movement gives them more power for flying. Since hummingbirds are so small, they are a favorite snack for predators. Only some animals are fast enough to catch these little birds, though. Hawks can sometimes catch and eat hummingbirds. Pet cats are one of the main predators of hummingbirds. On the ground, frogs, snakes, lizards, and cats sneak up on hummingbirds and snare them. Some large fish, like bass, can snatch a hummingbird if the bird flies too close to the surface of the water. Even some insects, like praying mantises and large ants, will catch and eat small hummingbirds if they can. Hummingbirds spend most of their lives alone. When it is time to have babies, though, the female hummingbird looks for a mate. Males will try to get her attention by showing off their feathers or doing fancy flying tricks and dives. The hummingbird mother builds the nest and then sits on her eggs until they hatch. This can take from 2 to 3 weeks. The mother will leave the nest for short periods to eat. The female hummingbird builds a nest by herself. Hummingbird nests are little stretchy cups. The hummingbird uses bark, moss, leaves, or grass for the outside. She ties it all together with spider webs. Then she lines the inside of the nest with feathers or soft fur. After that, it's time to lay eggs. Hummingbirds lay between 1 and 3 eggs in the nest. This is the nest of an Anna's hummingbird. You guys see the nest? It's got eggs in it. Baby hummingbirds. The hummingbird eggs are ready to hatch in 2 to 3 weeks. The babies tap their way through the shells with the special tips on their beaks called egg teeth. The baby's little eyes are sealed shut when they are born. The babies don't have any feathers either, so their mother keeps them warm with her own body. Mother hummingbirds feed their babies for a few weeks before the babies are big enough to go find their own food. Hummingbirds make spectacular dives when they are flying. They pull up from these dives. They experience 10G, which is 10 times the force of gravity. By comparison, race car drivers, whose cars go from 0 to 100 miles per hour in under a second, experience only 5G. At first, the mother hummingbird brings back the nectar and insects to the nest, carrying the food in her beak. In only about 3 weeks, though, the babies sprout their adult feathers and learn to fly. Last of all, they learn to gather nectar for themselves. You guys see the baby bird? Long, risky flights. Twice a year, most North American hummingbirds migrate from the south to the north and back again. These flights are very far. Many hummingbirds go across the Gulf of Mexico during their migration. To do this, they fly 500 miles without stopping, which takes them about 20 hours. Hummingbirds can starve or freeze to death during their migration. Hummingbirds are at risk in other ways too. When wild areas are cultivated, hummingbirds can lose their habitat. Nearly 10% of all hummingbird species are threatened with extinction. Most ruby-throated hummingbirds spend the winter somewhere between southern Mexico and Panama. And that is the end. Well, I certainly learned some new things about hummingbirds today. I didn't know a lot of that. I hope you guys learned something too. If you want to check out this book at the library sometime, it is called Hummingbirds, Faster Than a Jet by Emma Carlson Byrne. This is what it looks like. All right. I hope you guys learned a lot. I hope you had fun, and I will see you for our next video. Bye, everyone.